Hi! I've been a bit lax in releasing videos in the last few weeks, and that's because I've been working on multiple projects at the same time, plus being a bit slow, to be fair. So I'm going to release a number of quick clips, I think, or quick videos at least, showing what I've been up to, and hopefully it will kind of come together in the end. In comes some kind of cohesive sort of storyline type of montage that tells you what I've been up to during that period. This is the headlining which I made several months, maybe a year ago, for the Gilbern, and as you can see I've taken it out. And the reason I've taken it out is twofold. The main reason is because the spacing between the rods, the support rods, the hanging rods, I think is too much. The spacing is that by that, and that's the same as the original, obviously, but this is the back, and in particular the back, I think the ceiling, the roof lining, hangs down too low because it's not supported in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one, and it's going to have 5 support rods in it instead of 3. And as well as that, I think I've also worked out a more sensible way of creating the pockets that the rods run through. The way I did it originally, I had made the roof lining extra long in order to account for the pinching up of the fabric. But I now realise, of course, that I could have simply sewn them on as a separate piece, and I wouldn't have had to worry about the extra length. And the final reason, and yeah, this probably is the main reason actually, I neglected to put on any kind of legs for the pillars, the front, middle and rear roof pillars, and they're just missing, and I just didn't think of it at the time. I had a quick look to see if they could be added on afterwards, and I did. It was just too much effort to do it that way. It would be much easier to start again. So that's what I'm doing, and who knows, it might end up being a bit cleaner as well. Now luckily, of course, unlike last time where I had nothing to go on because the original Gilbern roof lining had just completely disintegrated, but this time clearly I've got a pattern, so that should be an easier job. So there we are, and luckily I've got loads of spare fabric which should help as well. So I just need to essentially copy this shape and then add some extra bits onto it. I think that's the way I'm going to go about it. So this looks to be a full width. This is, that's the front to back, which I'm trying to work out which side I'm looking at. So yeah, okay. Well, that's easy then, isn't it? So the legs will be sewn on to it rather than cut out from it. Right, that's all fine. The very same fabric, as you can see. So I now need to cut out some tubes for the rods to go through. So I shall just, I'm going to help. I would need 3, but I'm going to have 5. Okay, and the length Now the length of these tubes is another thing I realised latterly, is that they don't need to go all the way to the edge. So they only need to be that long, which unfortunately, yeah. So I can't get 2 pieces out of that. So yeah, I've got to cut out 5 of these, which is slightly annoying. And now my bobbins run out. And this one isn't really suitable. So, guess who's going to be winding thread on then? By hand. Right, last one. There we go. So that I know where to put the legs for the pillars, I'm going to sketch out the actual size. I won't cut it. I'm going to sketch out the actual shape of the template so that I know where to attach the legs, which, for example, is just there. And we'll go across. And another leg is here. So I'm sewing the legs on my 6-legged animal. And hopefully it will all come together. So, here is my stitched animal skin with strangely 6 legs on it. And somehow I need to sew it all together. Okay, so I've offered up the headlining to the roof. It looks pretty promising with the 5 rails. I'm waiting for my new rod to turn up to actually finish that with. One thing I did do already, actually, I ran an extra stitch here, because although I'd put it at I think 45 degrees when stretched out, that is, looks like it needed to be more towards the back, so I just ran a stitch. I ran a stitch at an angle to pivot this thing up, reduce the chances of any puckering or whatever. I'm going to run this slight pinch up which I mentioned, and run it all the way to the edge, even though the tube where the metal bar goes through is only in the middle, and that will hopefully prevent any puckering at the edge. Let's hope that runs. And the problem I was having yesterday when I did this first attempt at that was I couldn't get any foot tension on this old sewing machine. The fabric was sliding around, and then I discovered This was my mother's machine, and I've discovered a function I didn't know about, which had been initiated without my noticing, and that is to do with foot pressure, because it was sliding around. Oh well, my light seems to come off, and it's quite useful having a light. Anyway, let's see if I can get that to run straight. That would be nice. Well, I've probably lost a little bit of extra length, and I've likely reduced the diameter of this tube a bit as well. So I'm going to try the tube first. That's certainly going to be a tight fit. I'm just going to check how easily or otherwise I can get this metal brought in. And actually, that was really easy. Okay, fine, I don't need to worry about that then. So it looks like the diameter of the tube only needs to be, well, it's probably about ½ an inch or centimetre and a bit maybe. Right, don't need to worry about that then. Having changed tack regarding how the stitching runs, i.e. I'm creating a very small pocket with a tuck up, and then the tube gets sewn to that, rather than it going through all the way from one side to the other of the headlining. And the reason for that is the stitching was ugly, I thought. Anyway, I'm making a virtue out of necessity, kinda, because that means I can just fold the headlining in half, and then when it picks up the pocket later on, that's obviously what I actually need. But it actually avoids me having to have a whole bunch of fabric each side of the foot of the sewing machine here. So it may actually be easier to do, as well as hopefully better, and I must stop pricking myself on the pins. Anyway, this is tube number 2. Let's see how it runs. I'm starting all the way from the edge again. What has happened here? Oh, what the? Having reloaded the bobbin and repinned, I'll still this dodgy light, repinned the whole thing, and I'll do it again. But one thing that I have changed actually is to make sure the inside edge of the tube lines up with the fold in the main fabric. Otherwise you end up sewing much too far inwards, and we're going to lose a lot of length in the front to back of the whole fabric piece. So I've repinned it slightly differently from how it was. Let's have another go. Okay. Okay, let's see if there's enough fabric. I've done 3 of my 5 tubes, so I've got 2 more to go, and I've decided that the best way of doing this, because there has to be a pinch up in the main fabric so that it can be sewn from just one side. If I line up the fold in the fabric with the back end of the tube, that then provides just about the right amount of space, and I'm keen not to lose too much, because to be honest, because I've changed the way that I've done the stitching, the fabric could have done with being a little bit longer. Oh look, a sunny day. Anyway, so here is my newly remade roof lining, now with 5 support bows rather than just 3, and as you can see by all the spare threads and things, I've had a lot of goes at tightening up the fit. So I've reduced the tubey bits here. You can see by this row of stitches here, I've just tightened that up to lift the fabric higher to the ceiling, as well as there being more rods. So all I need to do now, is, well, I'm going to trial fit it, and then of course I also need to have another 4 brackets which sit inside the roof for these to clip into. I've made the brackets, but I need to find out exactly where to put them. Anyway, first to try this iteration of the thing as it is. Okay, so yeah, looks all my bows are hanging upside down. That's not very good. Aha! I can actually swivel the bows because they tend to want to hang down because it's part of the least resistance, I suppose. But I can swivel them. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, so this is looking a bit better. Well, that was the end for now of the work on the headlining, because then I got distracted and I had to look at some other element of the whole roof care. In fact, that may be actually what I should call this sequence of episodes, roof care. I got distracted onto another element of the roof care, which was associated not only just the roof but also the windscreen. Can you believe it? Yes, they are all linked together. So stand by for another episode on a related, loosely you might say, a related sub-project.